That was your moment then. It was
Maybe
Hidden
that
Fates.
was my moment.
That
Yeah,
was it.
I've just discovered my moment. Honestly, I think behind the scenes, my life has never been so unstructured and chaotic.
Welcome back to the PokeRadar podcast. This is episode 5. Wow, month 2. Today we have our first time guest, I guess, since starting the new podcast. Someone that I've recently been able to build a greater relationship with and bond with at Collecticons and all this stuff, because she likes to fly way too much.
I do.
But we have the one and only, the wonderful PokiChloe. Hi, Chloe.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
Hello. Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing well. How are you?
Great, fantastic. I miss you.
Good.
And Harry and
Yeah,
Dean.
I know. It won't be long.
Yeah, it's been like we've known each other. We've talked for a while. I mean, you're fairly newer than, I guess, like the typical guests that I've had on, like my I guess circle of friends within Pokemon. But over the past, like 6 months, maybe?
Yeah.
Me, you, Harry, especially, just started bonding quite a bit. I feel like we had a great time at Collecticon in, which one was that? Dallas? Was that Dallas?
Dallas,
No.
yeah. That was, Dallas.
Yeah.
Well, we saw you in Orlando, didn't we?
Yeah, briefly.
And then, Dallas, yeah. So, that was a few months ago now.
Yeah, we just had a blast. I mean, we were having like lunch, dinner, like every day, and just lots of laughs, lots of packs being opened.
A lot, yeah.
Too many. That's still continuing, but
a lot of money.
But yeah, it's great. I mean, for those that don't know who you are, I mean, you're getting big now. You got 50K on IG now. Congratulations.
Thank
50K
you.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Are you doing TikTok?
I do TikTok, but not like, it's just like casual. It's very sporadic when I upload there. I don't sort of like focus on that as like a platform. It's just a bit of fun.
Yeah, that's how I am. I'll just like throw out a reel or find one of those trends and start doing it. But you're a PokiChloe. You're a content creator, right? I mean,
I am,
and a lot more than that, which we'll be able to talk about, obviously.
Yeah.
But why don't you kind of give us a little rundown of what PokiChloe is right now? Because I do want to jump in the past as well. Again, I haven't had really a great opportunity to sit down with you one-on-one and just like learn about your story and understand your come up with Pokemon as a kid and all this stuff, because I used to do this as a kind of meet the collector series, but now since I'm repeating guests, I don't want to do the same things, but this is fun. I get to kind of do that again with you. So who's PokiChloe right now? What are you up to?
Okay, so I am a content creator, and like you said, a bit more than a content creator. I think everyone just assumes that I just make some videos and take some pictures and that's kind of it, but there's a lot of other things going on as well. So I'm based in the UK, if you can't tell by my accent already, but I do travel a lot. Like over the past year, the traveling and especially going to the US as well and going to more shows and doing more events has become a lot more like of a regular thing in my schedule, which is really fun. But yeah, super busy. So I do YouTube. I started streaming on YouTube originally and throwing up a few pre-recorded videos, and then it kind of just kept going. Like it's something I didn't plan to do. It just kind of happened and it kind of went well, so I stuck with it. I originally started my Instagram. That was my first like social platform for Pokemon, so that's where I started posting things. And then I also have an online TCG store, Collector's Card House, which I actually own with a friend of mine who you know, Dean. He's also a content creator, but we have that as, we have our own channels. We are separate in that aspect, but we have the online store. And there's some exciting things happening with that this year as well. Watch this space. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a preview. I don't remember. This comes out 2 weeks from now, so maybe.
Oh, okay, so yeah, by the time it comes out, there might be a bit like more progress, but
but
you know how everything is, it's so long-winded and takes ages. But there's some things happening with the online store this year, let's say that. So yeah, that's going on, and yeah, that's kind of me, like in a nutshell. If I'm not streaming, I'm recording a video, and I'm sort of trying to change up my content a bit this year. Trying to do a few different things. Like I've hired a new videographer for my channel to do like a few new style videos. I think by the time this episode comes out on your channel, I think I'll have at least one of those videos up. So guys, go and check it out and let me know what you think. But yeah, just going with the flow. None of this was ever planned for me, so I'm just going where it takes me currently, and so far it's going well, so I can't complain.
That's exciting. I mean, I think that's the mindset you want to have forever while you do this, because if you get too big and you start to feel a different way, you might just like lose quality content and stop caring.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's so much fun. That's kind of how I think a lot of us are, like Pokemon people especially. Is so much like imposter syndrome of what's reality, because we're just playing with Pokemon cards and it's
Literally,
life-changing career setting goal. It's wild. But to take it way back to 1999, little Chloe out in the UK, Pokemon comes out. Are you a Pokemon kid? Do you have like brothers, friends? What was like the attraction to Pokemon that at that point when it first came out in 1999?
So I was about 7 years old when it first came out in primary school. We call it primary school. You call it elementary school. I think that's the correct translation there. Yeah, and it was huge in the UK. Used to watch it every morning with my breakfast before going to school. And then the whole bringing cards to school really took off. And I actually have a younger brother who also collected cards, but he actually quite liked Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Like when we got back into it, like as an adult, and we were, finding our childhood cards. My husband was finding his collection. My brother actually had a much bigger Yu-Gi-Oh collection. I didn't even remember like playing with, so Yu-Gi-Oh wasn't my thing. I like Pokemon.
I didn't do Yu-Gi-Oh at all.
Yeah, so my brother had quite a big Yu-Gi-Oh collection. My husband actually as well, you know him well. He had a big Yu-Gi-Oh collection with his brother, but I was Pokemon. I was never really into anything else of that similar sort of genre. And yeah, it was just huge in the UK, especially when it first released in schools. But it actually got to a point, and I'm pretty sure it happened everywhere, where it ended up getting banned. You couldn't bring cards or bring anything in because kids were literally fighting each other on the school playground, or going home crying because so and so stole this. So yeah, for me it started in primary school. That's where it started. So I was about 7, probably for a couple of years, and then like a lot of people grew up, and then a few years ago, before like the big Logan Paul boom happened, slowly just started to get back into it. I think we found some childhood cards. Like I said, my husband found a fairly like substantial collection of cards he had from when he was younger as well, and we started going through it all. And I don't know what made me look on like social media to see if like people were in the present day posting about their Pokemon cards, but I found a few profiles. I can't even remember who I found first on Instagram. And I thought, like there's people that are still like strongly interested and still into it, and like whether they've just got back into it at a later point in their life, or they've kind of continued it for their entire life. So just started posting like a few bits and pieces here and there, and then started buying new stuff as well. And then one thing just led to another, and it's now where it is. It never stops. So it kind of just spiraled, shall we say. And obviously I had a normal full-time job before all of this, so I had adult money that I could just
spend on childhood things.
So
you mentioned, you said you were like, there was nothing else that you were really into as a kid. It was just like the Pokemon thing. Were there other nerdy, or were you
I wasn't really I'm not like a tomboy, but I wasn't a massive girly girl, so I wasn't like Barbies or anything, but Beanie Babies was a really big thing. I don't know how big I imagine it was huge in America as well, but like so Beanie Babies, love Beanie Babies. Again, I don't think I ever had anything that was actually like worth anything or anything.
The only Beanie Baby was the Princess Diana one, right? And
Everyone talks about that one. Yeah, like, yeah, I
was it
definitely
even
didn't have
out
it.
in the UK? They probably, yeah.
I know, yeah. So yeah, all that sort of stuff when I was younger. But yeah, like if you're talking about like card games and stuff, it was just Pokemon. Like Yu-Gi-Oh
Okay.
wasn't really a thing for me. My brother obviously was into that. And like I've never been into Magic the Gathering or anything like that. Just didn't collect it or play it when I was younger. So it's something I've never really felt the need to like try and get
Yeah.
into, because I enjoy Pokemon. So I kind of haven't really branched out. I know there's people who do a little bit of everything, but
Right.
for
I mean,
me,
we're
that
we're
wasn't
we're,
really
we're
it.
the same age. I mean, if I didn't have older brothers, I I'm sure still would have gotten into Pokemon, but having the older brothers, and like the oldest is like the nerd of the family. There's like 80-20, like 80% nerd, 20% jock. Older brother is 80% jock, 20% nerd, and then I was like the 50-50.
Okay.
So, obviously being younger, we just followed the oldest brother, what he was doing, and Pokemon, and then we skipped Yu-Gi-Oh, went into like
Right.
Dragon Ball Z and Harry Potter. There was a TCG and some
Right.
other random stuff, and then we got into Magic.
Okay.
So, yeah, being 7, I guess, at the 99, Magic was just like too much to take on, and if I didn't have an
Yeah,
older
it's a
brother
lot.
doing it, I wouldn't have done that at all. I'm assuming. So,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting. So you were the influence to your little brother, probably, then,
Yeah,
doing
I
all that.
suppose so. Because like I think for me, a lot of like the collecting of cards came from like kids at school, because I think everyone was
Okay.
just doing it at the same sort of time. And then obviously, um, like our little treat, should you say, like once or twice a week was going to like the local corner shop, like the little
Yeah.
convenience store, I suppose you call it, and just getting like 1 or 2 packs. And yeah, that was kind of, we always went to the same shop to get it. That shop still exists today as well.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, yeah, it
Oh,
does.
that's
Still
so
round the
cool.
corner from my parents' house. It was on our journey to school. We used to walk to school and walk back. So it was like on the journey there and on the journey back. So, yeah, so I think a lot of it for me came from like with friends at school,
Yeah.
just because everyone in school was just obsessed for like that certain period of time. And yeah, then my brother obviously decided to go down the more Yu-Gi-Oh route. He doesn't really collect anything now. He kind of, when he grew out of it, but gave me all his Yu-Gi-Oh cards to look through. Didn't know what I was looking
Wow.
at. A lot of them were trashed
His
as well. So
his big sister's PokiChloe, and he's not getting back into it.
I know. He
Some
actually
brother.
likes, yeah, he actually, I tell you what, he does like he really likes NBA, and he
Okay.
every time I travel and go to all these shows, I always bring him back like a box of basketball cards. I never know what I'm buying or what they are. I just pick a random one off the shelf somewhere and take it back for him. So yeah, he still opens packs and stuff like that,
Good.
but not really Pokemon. He's opened a few
Yeah.
Pokemon packs, but he's yeah,
That's
on
good.
the
I can help
Pokemon.
you
He
with the
likes
basketball.
sports.
I do some basketball. I
Oh,
have,
okay, yeah.
yeah.
I've got no. He asks like he'll sit there and open it like when I give it to him, and he's like, "What's this?" I'm like, "You're asking the wrong person." I've
Well,
got
you
no
do.
idea.
You love the WWE stuff, so
I love
there's
the
yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot of. I mean, it's all made by the same people usually, and they do the same similar numbered cards and prisms and autos. So
yeah, like
it's
Panini
very
and tops and
yeah,
stuff.
it's very translatable, I guess, over
Okay,
to basketball. So if as you learn more about WWE, I
do a
know
bit
that's
more
kind of
research.
more of
Yeah.
a fun thing for you. You're not ripping a ton of
No,
it.
I'm even with WWE, like, and I love WWE growing up. Like, we love watching it, like on a Sunday morning. Like, that was a big thing. So yeah, I just, whenever we're traveling, like, because in the UK, there I don't have like a local card store I can go to that's like got number one Pokemon, let alone like sports cards on the shelf, basically. So
So like
I
that
will.
corner shop is like a market, and they
It's
sell
kind of just,
cards.
well, they did back in the day. So like basically it's like, it's hard to explain in the UK. Corner shop is like you'll get like some snacks, there'll be like sweets and crisps
Yeah,
and drinks in
yeah.
there, and then like magazines, and like always on like the countertop where you pay, there will always be like a box of
It's like a
cards.
gas station, but without the
Kind of, yeah,
gas.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, similar
yeah.
to that. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to walk in. I imagine they still have Pokemon packs in there. I haven't been in there in years.
Oh, you need to
Um,
go.
but I know
That's
I
a
need to go
video.
and like relive the original experience. But I
Yeah,
don't know where I would go, like to walk into a shop on the shelf and find like sports cards, for example. And
yeah.
you'd have to go to like a specific sports card shop. I couldn't even tell you where one is.
Yeah.
I order online here if I want to buy it here, or if not, I just save it for when I go away. Like I said, it's not something I do to like flip or make money out of. I literally just sit there and rip it and enjoy it. And
your hotel room just had WWE cards all over the place.
Literally everywhere. I think there's a pile of them in this room somewhere. I opened a box on the trip just gone last week, and I got 3 autos out of one box.
Are you supposed to get 1 or 2?
You're meant to get 1 or 2, and
wow.
the butler's just even he's walking around being like, I don't know where they are. Yeah, so that's all just a bit of fun for me, because even though I really enjoy Pokemon, I get to open a lot of cards for people on stream. I don't open much for myself. I don't take a lot of time, so I just like to have a bit of downtime sometimes and rip some Pokemon and rip some WW. Oh, I think he's found them. He's going to give them to me.
Who's your favorite?
Well, my all-time favorite is Lita, but I didn't get a Lita auto. There's a numbered Lita in there, I think. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Candice LeRae. Oh, the shoe.
Sorry, you can show the.
He's walking away right there. You can't see them very well, but
no idea who that is.
Daughter as well.
It's okay. Oh, is that an orange one though? That one's numbered.
Yes, 76 out of 99. People are probably cringing. I haven't even got it in a sleeve, but like I said, just don't worry about that. It's just a bit.
That's
fun.
Yeah. I had Randolph on the old podcast a long time ago, talking about kind of the struggles of accessibility in the UK, but that was 2 years ago. So before we get to that, there's a few more things, because like that corner store, well, thinking about that, because my childhood store is still open. Collectible Investments was the name.
Oh, okay. So it was at an actual like card shop.
Actual card shop, right? Like full on TCG. I mean, he did like coins and stuff on the side for like the parent or like the dads. Had very little sports and like memorabilia from the local, the sports teams or the state sports teams. Yeah. So that guy, he's old now, but he's still kicking it in the shop every day. But when I rediscovered Pokemon, I went back to that shop, and I mean, he basically supplied the majority of my collection, because he just had so much. I mean, he had boxes, he had every set, he had so much stuff, and I was buying it, dirt cheap at the time, because it was just before Pokemon Go. But it was cool. I got to build a relationship with him. I call him every now and then. I did a podcast with him. So that I guess it's probably not exactly the same, but it's cool that shop is still there. You need to go back. I mean, just for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah, just stand in there and buy some sweets maybe, and a Pokemon pack if they've got one on the side.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess it being a few years later, well, I want to keep going with your story, like understand your interest with Pokemon. You said you got back into it just before COVID, so just before the Logan Paul boom. So I guess just as the COVID world shutdown started. Did you? You also said you forget the first like accounts that you saw on Instagram.
Yeah, like on Instagram, I think I literally typed in the word Pokemon like in the search bar, and like a lot of people have like some form of Poke something in their name. So I think I started following a lot of like people in the UK that were popping up, and then as I delved a bit deeper, I realized there was a whole like community all over the world. There was obviously YouTube channels. I think like some of the first channels that I came across were like Leon Hart, obviously, just because he is, huge. SM Pratt I came across as well, which was like the other side of the hobby, which is a bit more like the, adult kind of like serious part of it, investment, like that side of thing, not just like, I was surprised that it existed in the way it did when I first like rediscovered it, and when I created my page, I just didn't like think anything of it, but like I said, because I had like adult money, we just started buying some fun stuff, and then it kind of just, and I would share what I was picking up or if I was opening stuff. I think there was like a time, like Champions Path, for example, just sat there in the spare room like of my house, just opening hundreds and hundreds of packs. I think my husband opened a fossil boost, was it a fossil unlimited booster box or a first edition fossil booster box? It was a first ever fossil booster box.
That was expensive at that point.
It wasn't cheap, but he just sat there and opened it just for like fun. Obviously graded some cards out of the back of it when we started getting into that sort of stuff, but I mean, was literally
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, there was,
it's
it was a bit of fun. It was what we were just having fun with. And then it slowly, like we say, got bigger and something became of it. But yeah, prior to all of that, it was literally just me sharing things that I was buying and picking up and opening myself.
Yeah. I like Gem Mint Pokemon was one of the first that I saw on YouTube. And now I'm very good friends with him. Which was kind of a cool like process. And then, discovered E4 and Pratt, hung out with him a little bit and all these other people. But it's so fun to go back on Instagram and just like scroll to the bottom of who you're following or followers. And there's so many names that are just nostalgic at this point because it was so long ago.
Yeah.
It's sad at the same time because a lot of them like stopped or things got too expensive. So that, these amazing collectors or collections just came to a halt. But that's something we talk about now when we all get together is like we just start throwing out random names of Instagram accounts that we all remembered. So you should do a little scroll through and see if you can find some of those names.
I've ever done that.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
I've scrolled to the bottom of my profile to like look back and see, because like sometimes on Instagram you get this little thing that says like on this day like 2 years ago, like so I click that and I look at it and I think, oh my god, look at the state of my photos and like what even is that, like I forgot I even like took that picture or had that. No, I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to do a bit of a deep dive and see where it all it all started
and see who was commenting on your pictures and all that.
Yes, because like you said,
fun.
When you notice there's like names that the profiles they just like there was a point where they just kind of stopped. There's a few like people that every now and then that like I was like doing deals with back when I like first started the social media side of things, and when I click on their profile, like they haven't posted in like 2 years. They obviously, there was that point where like you say it got too expensive or other things happened, so they just like dipped out and stopped. But it's like they just disappeared, and it's like
those people always have a like a special place in your heart. Like no matter
there's
like
people you remember,
yeah. Like no matter how big you get, it's it's just something special about that first like group of people you meet and watch everyone like grow up through the times. My old pictures are just like cards and boxes like in the seat in my car next to me because I would pick it up, take a picture and post, and like that was it.
That was it. No,
that was great times. But like it would be like Neo boxes and base set boxes and crazy stuff, but would have spent hundreds or maybe like 1,000. So gosh, I miss those times. So much fun.
Simple times.
I was opening a bunch of jungle packs and fossil packs, base set packs. I mean, we're still doing that now.
Yeah, but obviously
less quantity, but it's when we get together, especially me and Harry at this point, it's getting dangerous. So we need someone to slow us down.
I feel like it's a competition, like who can do the like craziest stuff. And I'm like, just chill out. Like it's fine. It's fine.
We just love it. We're having a good time.
I can tell.
So getting back into Pokemon, you said you just kind of like rediscovered cards. Were you into the anime? Did you watch the show? Did you play the video game?
When I was younger, I watched the anime, but it's not something actually. There was, when was it? It was like 3 months ago. There was one evening we were just so tired. We'd been working all day, and we I've got like a big TV next to like where I film, and we got like a little sofa where we can just sit and watch the screen. And we started Pokemon from the beginning, me and Harry. But then we kind of forgot we did that and then haven't done it since. It's more the time to sit, like because I literally am working like Monday to Sunday, and I stream a lot in the evenings as well. So during the day I'm like doing a lot of packing of orders and all that sort of stuff. organizing emails and all that fun stuff. So like in the evenings, it's normally like really late by the time I get into bed. So I'll just like put on true crime in bed and fall asleep. So I kind of like, we should make more of an effort with, he's over there, that's why I'm looking over the camera. I didn't really play the video games. Just when I was younger. I'm trying to think what my first games console was. Because my brother was younger than me as well. Like, so for example, in our house, every like Christmas, we got the same like level of present. Like one of us wouldn't get like a more expensive present than the other. So I think there would have been a point where like buying me a games console like at Christmas and then buying one for him, where he's 4 years younger than me. So they're not going to buy like an 8, like they wouldn't have bought me one and then my like 4-year-old brother, because he wouldn't have understood what it was. But I think it would have been Game Boy Color. I can't remember. I can't remember. But yeah, no, I didn't really play the games when I was younger. For me, it was just the cards, and that's kind of what I got back into with it. And I play Pokemon Go obviously now, but I don't play any other games consoles or anything. I've never been really like a gamer as such. That's not really been my thing.
It's especially now. I don't have time. I don't enjoy it either anymore.
I think it's the time. If you have like sometimes like Harry will sit up at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I hear the Xbox go on. That sound is like triggering when that button goes on. But he plays like Call of Duty and stuff. So like it's not like I play that. Like when I was younger, it was GameCube was like I think the first thing me and my brother played together. So like Mario Kart, Simpsons Hit and Run, and then got like a PS2 after. Yeah, I think I got a PS2 after that, like Celebrity Deathmatch. That was like probably shouldn't have had that at the age that I was playing it, but that was good fun. So that was didn't actually really play many of the Pokemon games at all.
Okay. So as you got back into Pokemon, you're having fun, you're opening stuff, buying new, buying old. What was the, I guess, like light bulb idea that led to you wanting to start a business with it or start content, I guess was the first thing?
It's a really good question. And a lot of people have asked me this before, and there's not like a specific moment where something happened where I was like, oh, I can make a business out of this, or oh, I want to be like a content creator. Like I think you said it earlier, like that whole imposter syndrome thing. Like if people like say to me, oh, you're a content, like even in my head now, I feel weird saying that. I think it's where prior to all of this, I worked what you would call a normal job. Like for me, this has been like a whole world. Like even now, there's things that like come my way. I don't know what to do with them. I don't know how to like deal with it. Like it's all a learning curve. So I think I had been sharing a lot on Instagram for a while, and that had kind of like, I wouldn't say taken off, but kind of like my page was growing, I suppose you could say, is the best thing. And I think I started doing some Instagram lives of me just opening packs. I think Dragon Majesty I went ham on for some unknown reason. I can't even tell you why. I don't even know what I even like in the set, but I remember opening loads of like Dragon Majesty for myself and just doing like little Instagram videos and Instagram lives. And I think a couple of people that I'd kind of like started to become friends with and talk to a lot, they said like, why don't you like stream and open packs for other people? And I was like, no. That concept to me, I was like, I'm not going to sit in front of a camera. Like I wasn't comfortable. Like the videos I was doing was all you could see was my hands. You couldn't see me. Obviously it was just on my phone. And I'm trying to think, the first set that I think I started opening for people was Hidden Fates. I started doing like Hidden Fates tin breaks. And I think my first stream was something like I opened like 20 tins for people. So you'd buy the whole tin, obviously get your 4 packs in the tin. And it just went down really, really well. And like I had a really good time doing it. Even though the cards weren't for me, I was still getting that fulfillment of opening packs and enjoying it.
That was your moment then. It was
maybe that was my moment. I've just discovered my moment.
That was it.
So and I think I remember doing my first pre-recorded video on YouTube. It's horrible.
Is it still up?
It's still up. Yes, it's me sitting in front of my wardrobe doors in my spare room with a mystery box I had bought. I thought, I'll buy like a mystery box on eBay because that would be fun. I think that's where I bought it. And I'm so awkward. Like the whole thing
I
is
can't wait to
just
watch that after this.
filmed it all on my phone. And the stream started a couple of months after that, I think. But I think I even remember doing my first like live stream. I was like, I've never sat in the front of a camera and spoken to a camera before prior to that, and I was just like, oh God, I can't do this. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But then I had like this core group of like 20 people that would jump in and watch, and they were like, so when's the next one? What are you doing next? I was like, okay,
It's
so
all it
like,
takes. It's all it
yeah.
takes. It's like one
And then
person,
it
two
kind of,
people.
it kind of went from there. And the more popular, I think, like the streams got, the more I started doing them. So I think I did once a week to begin with, and then it got to like twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. And I would just basically say to people who are watching, like, what do you want me to open for you? Like, what do you guys want? So we were open on probably what was out at the time. But yeah, Hidden Fates and Shining Legends was like really popular when I started the live streams, and like we opened like 3,000 Shining Legends packs or something crazy, like in the space of a couple of months. We went wild with it. But yeah, it's people just enjoyed it, and then it kind of went from there, really.
Yeah. I mean, my moment was a conversation at a Worlds event where we were all having dinner, and it was Jim at Pokemon, it was SM Pratt, Swellpoke, Old School Pokemon, Gotta Catch 'Em All. It was all these guys that are doing Pokemon full time now, and there was just like a serious kind of business conversation that was happening on my end of the table with Nick, Old School, and Dan, Gotta Catch 'Em All, and like for whatever reason, I just like locked in on their conversation, and they were talking about how much money they were doing and how much Pokemon they were moving. I was like, what? You can move 50 grand in a year of Pokemon?
Yeah.
And that kind of just clicked something in my brain, and it made me take it more seriously, because I had been doing it for years before that, but it was purely collecting. I was selling to like pay for my terrible habit of opening a bunch of stuff and filling up binder pages with stuff. So yeah, I think we all have kind of I'm sure we all have like a few moments that change our course, and I'd like to be aware of those and appreciative of them. So Hidden Fates, that's a good one. Everybody,
Hidden Fates.
that was a crazy time.
Yeah, because I think I actually say sometimes that Hidden Fates built my channel. So I suppose that is my moment where it kind of got like, it became a thing, basically. And it was still a while after that before I even like thought about quitting my job and doing all of this full time. And because like, I think people think, oh, you know, she quit her job to do YouTube, and that wasn't it. Like when I actually stopped my full-time job, my YouTube like wasn't big enough to sustain. It isn't technically now big enough to sustain like a full-time wage. I don't think people, I think unless you do YouTube, the money you make from it isn't like, until you're like in the like hundreds of thousands, millions, that's when you're earning like big money where you could like do
How
it.
big was your channel when you quit your job?
I think around 20k 25k maybe. But I was doing a lot of like I'd started the online store at that point, which was getting busy. I was doing a lot of buying, selling on eBay, still do now to this day. So like that was like the bigger part of it for me. The YouTube was always kind of like a bonus, and don't get me wrong, the live streams as well, but like the pre-recorded type content from YouTube like isn't like the reason, or like could have been, wouldn't have been able to sustain, and it doesn't even.
It was the card business that you were building that allowed you to do it. So why don't we talk about that a little bit? You've got a pretty big store now. Well, you've separated it. You have a new name. What's it?
Yeah. So it used to be Chloe's Card House, and that was always kind of separate from my PokiChloe online streaming stuff. That was where you could, you know, go and buy booster boxes. And it's not just Pokemon either. We do Magic, Dragon Ball, Digimon, One Piece, like all the, you know, popular TCGs. And then we rebranded to Collector's Card House at the beginning of this year, because I joined forces. Basically, I took on a new business partner in the form of Dean, aka PokeDean. So we own the store, and it functions as like any normal online TCG store. We sell a little bit of everything: booster boxes, collection boxes, ETBs, you
And that
name it.
started purely for your as Poke or before you partnered with Dean. It started purely to support your streams, right?
Uh, yeah, kind of. I think in the beginning it did, and then I liked the idea of being able to have, like, basically when I started doing this as a job and a business, like I wanted to have like something to work, like where was I going with it basically.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to just start doing it all and have like no actual plan. So I thought having a store, whether it was online or a physical store, would just be something really cool. Like I said, in the UK, physical stores don't, there's not loads of them, and an online store, don't get me wrong, we have our big online stores here, but I just thought that's what I want to try and do alongside everything else. So that's where that kind of was born. And yeah, then it became kind of separate to my streaming stuff, and it's just, you know, purely sealed TCG products, whereas on my streams we open stuff. So yeah, and then me and Dean just decided we work together a lot anyway. He's another content creator here in the UK. We, you know, have done a lot of like content work together, like we've worked with companies and stuff. And yeah, we kind of just had the conversation about joining. It was obviously, it's not something that just happened overnight. It was like discussions going on and on and on. And yeah, we kind of joined forces on it, and that's where we are today. And it's moving in a very good direction. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, you guys move pretty quick with it. It's you know, it takes a lot of people a lot of time to figure out the world of distributors and
Yeah.
taking that leap of building an online store. I mean, it's so competitive out here, especially with eBay and TCG Player and Troll and Toad and all these other online shops. You know, building your own website for it, not a lot of people do it.
No.
And even those that do, it's hard to find success with it. So, you know, maybe that's a ingredient of the UK, where you know, it's an opportunity in the UK that you guys were able to capitalize on. But it's, you get magic, you get One Piece, you get things that like I can't get through my distributor because I don't have a physical store.
Right.
So that's interesting. There's definitely like a open opportunity in the UK for people to get things that others can't, just because it's less accessible or less popular, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
And your store's been successful. What's, I don't know if you know any numbers or willing to share numbers, but what's your allocation like for like a new Pokemon set? How many booster
It
boxes would you get?
varies. So
Yeah.
I've been with the distributor a couple of years now. And even then, it's not the same story every time a new set comes out. So for like you saying you can't get like other TCGs, I knew when I started the online store, to make it, or if I wanted to make it work and be successful and be varied, that I didn't want to just stop Pokemon. I wanted it to be
Right.
all encompassing and all that sort of stuff. So it goes up and down. There are some sets that I will get everything that I want, basically boostable. When I say everything that I want, there is a cap on that. But I can get a decent-ish amount of booster boxes, ETBs, collection boxes. Sometimes it depends on the set. Sometimes we don't like even bother getting in some of the collection boxes, or
Yeah.
as many ETBs versus booster boxes. I kind of try and judge whether people are going to be excited about it or not. But there are some times where we get next to nothing. If it's like going to be really popular, and maybe when there's like a second wave of product, we'll get like a better amount in. But it's completely up and down. There's no guarantee, and that's kind of tough when you're running a store, not knowing 100% that you're guaranteed to get X amount of product. Kind of just have to hope and pray. And another thing to note is we only really stock English product. I do have some.
Right.
We occasionally stock some Japanese, like One Piece. We've had Japanese One Piece. Japanese Pokemon, I just can't really stock it. I don't have
it doesn't,
you know, I think you know as well, it's not the easiest thing to
it
get. So we
doesn't
are
really
primarily.
exist. Like you can only, there's no way to get a Japanese distributor outside
No.
of Japan.
Yeah.
So everybody that's importing, essentially, unless they have their own store in Japan, they're paying secondary market prices already, and then
Yeah.
there's more added onto that. So it's really difficult. It's really risky when you're buying a $50 box for 150, like 151,
Yeah.
not
It's not
knowing.
ideal.
It's a tough thing to do. So, and I like to go against the grain anyway. Everybody wants Japanese right now. I'll just buy more English. So,
Just do the
how
complete opposite.
exactly it tends to work. So are you able to sell through like all your stuff when you get it?
So yes, and no. Sometimes things don't end up being as popular as maybe we hoped, but I have the benefit of where I have like the live streaming side of things. Obviously, I can use product for, my live streams. But we have a fairly good customer base for the online store. And like I said, we always try and be as like, you can't really be strategic. I know everything's a bit of like, until it happens. But
Right.
like, for example, where are we now? We've just had Paldea Evolve come out, and we've got 151 coming, but in between all of that we've got Obsidian Flames coming as well, which I think unfortunately is just going to get absolutely flattened, a bit like Fusion Strike did. So it's always just trying to like judge, like not going overboard on something that we're just going to then end up with loads of excess product basically. But yeah, I mean, we just try and work it as best we can. Doesn't always work out, but yeah, like I said, there's no guarantee we'll get the same amount of booster boxes each time, or we'll get the same amount of ETBs, or there's certain products I can't order because I don't have a physical store. So for example,
you do have limitations.
they do have limits. Yeah. In general, I can get products from most TCGs, but there are like certain products within that TCG. So for example, with Pokemon, there's certain items you can't order unless you have a brick and mortar. Flesh and Blood is now a brick and mortar only item, and it didn't used to be originally.
Did that sell
things
well for
change
you?
with Flesh and Blood. So I started buying Flesh and Blood from the distributor, I can't remember the first, maybe like a couple of years ago, whenever it originally came out, I think. And yeah, it was popular at the time. But now I can't get it at all because I'm not a brick and mortar store. I'm online. They changed their rules because they started having issues. And that's the thing with the whole distribution side of things, especially for my experience, like rules things can change. If they have problems with certain areas of certain products, nothing's guaranteed. Things can change overnight, so it's hard to sort of be 100% with anything, or telling people we're definitely going to get all of this, or we're definitely going to get all of that, because I see some people do things like, I think, I can't remember what set it was, but I saw people putting out pre-orders for, I don't know if it was Crown Zenith, or it was something. It was a popular set. I think it was maybe older than that. And like, I heard of them putting out too many pre-orders and not getting their full allocation. Customers have paid, like that sort of stuff scares me. Like you have to be so careful. So we always try and make sure, we don't go overboard with that sort of thing. You can't, allow people to order what you don't have, what doesn't exist, and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, like I said, nothing's guaranteed in general. You hope to get a certain amount, but it's never promised, and especially with really popular sets as well. Everyone wants it, so it's like a fight to the death sometimes as to what you're actually going to get your hands on.
Yeah, I don't even have a way to sell my modern product. I just buy it and it sits in a storage unit. Like,
Just for fun,
selling on
to look
eBay
at.
makes no sense because fees are too high and the margins right now are terrible because it's back to normal for a modern product. And then I just don't have the time or care to try to sell it privately. So, yeah, the store then is a really interesting concept, I guess, in the UK. Maybe I won't ask this question. Let me go on to the next one. The let's go to like I'll skip over that. The the idea of being a content creator too. I mean, you still lean into heavily. I mean, you're able to land sponsorships. You're able to land, doing ads or doing partnerships with some companies.
Yeah.
What was your first one? Do you remember?
Oh, my first company that paid me to do something. Trying to
Oh, come on.
think.
You got to know this.
The very first thing. Can you remember what it was? I'm trying to think if it was either Instagram or YouTube. I think it would have been. So basically, Instagram is a bit of a weird one. Like, I feel like until you're like in the hundreds of thousands, like even millions of subscribers, I don't know, maybe people just don't care as much. Because obviously, you got to remember in the Pokemon content creation community, it's different from being like a fashion influencer where you've got like,
Right.
all these clothing companies sending you clothes and, whether it's beauty or whatever it is. We're a bit more niche. So obviously, you can only get and work with so many like people, and like what does that look like as well. I'm trying to think what my first like paid content type job was. I don't get them that often, so that's how you can tell it's not. I think it might have been something with eBay, doing like content work with them. um I think it might have been a TikTok, yeah. And bear in mind, TikTok is not like, I think I said at the beginning, I have TikTok and I
Yeah.
post on there. Like if I put a reel out on Instagram or a short on YouTube, I tend to post it on TikTok at some point. But it's not like one of the platforms. I just do TikTok for fun. TikTok is
Right.
just like a bonus. But yeah, I think it might have been a TikTok for eBay or something.
That
And
shows
then,
how out of touch that, or how new maybe that
yeah,
this
I
world
mean,
is with
it is
ads
with
and
like
marketing.
content ad like type things. Like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think it must have been. And I've done like, if I've done, if I've gone to an event with a company, for example, like,
Right.
normally like I'll do like some sort of like social media posts to go alongside that. They're all different depending on the company and what they want. But like sometimes I'll do like maybe like a vlog dedicated to it on my YouTube channel, or there'll be like a mention of it in a vlog or stuff like that. But yeah, the content world type thing and like getting paid to do like that sort of work, for me anyway, it's not like, it doesn't happen like week in week out. It's kind of, I think, bigger one-off projects that come about.
Hmm.
I do get a lot of like people asking, to send me things to like show on my Instagram, but I'm very like careful. I don't really do a
Yeah.
lot of that sort of stuff because, I mean,
It's dangerous.
you,
You
you
don't know
have to
who's
be
who.
careful. And if I am working with someone else, you have to be careful what, you're sharing. It doesn't clash with other things. But um and it's really great that, there's so many people out there, so many like little companies, making all these things. But yeah, I have to be careful because otherwise my Instagram would just, every post would be thank you so and so for, sent, like it would just be,
Yeah.
I don't want it to not be like genuine and like what I want it to look like. So I even if I
Right.
work with a company and do some sort of social post, I'm very careful about like, I need to like what I'm putting out there. It can't just be like some
Yeah.
some ad to like, just
No, it's
sell something I
delicate
don't even
because
care about.
like you said, like we're so niche. Like it's still so small, and
Yeah, it's
the
really
moment
small.
it's really easy to sell
And
out. Like the moment you
yeah,
post something, people will turn on you.
yeah.
Um, and so I think you've done a very great job of positioning yourself with the right companies. I mean, you're kind of hitting all the big ones. You like you said, you've done eBay.
Hmm.
You're still doing your PWCC streams, right?
Yeah,
Um,
so every week on my channel
yeah.
at 2
So you
a.m.
get to. Oh yeah, yeah. That's that's another thing. They got you doing live streaming the PWCC streams at 2 a.m. your time because they're
Yeah,
made for the US, and they
yeah.
went and got a UK content creator who is the right choice, but
Yeah,
also
yeah.
very inconvenient for you. Um, you've done Whatnot, if that's
Yeah,
still going on,
yeah.
and
Still
then
stream and whatnot.
what else? Vault X, was that one that
Yeah,
you
Volt's
partnered with?
an ambassador. So basically, Volt X, I've known those guys for ages, and I've always bought their binders. And for ages, we were trying to like set up being an ambassador basically for them,
Hmm.
and I was always just so busy, it just didn't end up like spending the time to sit down and get it sorted. So I've recently like become an official ambassador for them. But again, I've been using and spending my own money with Volt X for a long time, so I am happy to get behind something that I use myself, I think is, you know, worth it, decent, and they're great guys. They're
Yeah.
based here in the UK, but they were actually at Card Party
Oh, were
in,
they? I didn't meet
yeah,
them.
they had it was like a claw machine where you could like pick up one of the balls and
Oh,
inside it had like a little prize. But yeah, love the guys at Volt X. So yeah, they have like an affiliate thing with them where I have like a discount code and stuff. So and again, that sort of thing like doesn't happen very often. Like again, going back to whole like your typical Instagram influencer or typical like big YouTuber, like not necessarily Pokemon, like they've got, you know, discount codes for everything, all these companies they work with. But
right.
again, where we're smaller and we're niche, that you can't have all these discount codes with like companies that aren't relevant in a way, for, you know, that they're not
Right.
gonna use your services if it's not gonna benefit them.
Right.
Your audience has to be relevant basically.
Well, I think that'll I think that'll change at some point. I mean,
I think it will.
Pokemon's
It's
be
going in that direction.
yeah, Pokemon's becoming a bigger piece of YouTube now. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, looking at like Rev, Nick, and Lee and Nate and all these guys, you know, they've got millions of subscribers at this point. They're trending.
Yeah.
Well, Pat, Deep Pocket Monsters are
Yeah.
trending on YouTube, so it's becoming a bigger piece of the greater entertainment world. So I think
Mhm.
that stuff will start to flow in eventually. I don't know when, but it's definitely gonna happen. So I mean, that's something that you've been able to accomplish really well. That not many others. I can't even like think of any that have been as successful and I guess disciplined in doing both the card shop and the content.
Yeah.
Like even Nick PokeRev. I mean, he's kind of let his. I mean, his team is getting so big now. It's
Yeah, he's
helping.
on a different scale.
All that stuff. But he was doing Pokemon pretty seriously on the side as a buy and sell business, and then shifted over to purely content.
Yeah.
He still does his mystery packs, he still does his breaks every now and then, but
Mhm.
um, I mean, I guess I'm biased just seeing what he used to do and how much he did it, and
Right.
what he shifted over. But you have a really good balance, a really good structure to push both of these things, which is really nice. You've got a great supportive husband as
I
well,
do. Yeah.
who's doing this. Harry, one of my favorite people.
I mean, honestly, I think behind the scenes, especially this last year, my life has never been so unstructured and chaotic is the best way I can describe it. So like you said, we're
Yeah.
the same age. Like, I'll be 30 this year, and there's nothing wrong with like things not necessarily being like you're like being in control of everything, but my husband, for example, has even stepped back from his job to work with me full time, which, you know, and like I can't explain, like it's chaos. Like I might be able to hold it together when I'm streaming and doing these videos and like putting out content, still running, you know, and managing the store still. Obviously I have help with all of that now. It's impossible to do as one, and obviously Dean is involved with the store, but there are some days where I have like meltdowns, like
Yeah.
really big, like dramatic, I can't do this anymore type thing. Because I always feel like where I'm doing everything, I think I'm trying to do too much sometimes. And it's hard to then prioritize what the most important thing to do is, because I want the store stuff to be successful. I obviously do a lot of buying and selling in the background just as normal. I want my content stuff to be successful. But I'm one person at the end of the day with only a limited amount of time each day. And I feel like I'm constantly like chasing my tail a lot of the time. And yeah, it's a lot to manage. So if you could see like the unfiltered PokiChloe behind the scenes, sometimes it's a hot mess. I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
So that dynamic, that's a big change for um, a relationship and for the business as well. I mean, it's tough. It's tough
Mm.
working in the same industry as, you know, your loved one, your other half. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, that's fairly new, right? With Harry
Yeah.
taking that step back, but how has that dynamic? Talking about life more, I guess now. How much did that dynamic change? I mean, is it is it more fun? Are you finding new like what's the new? Are there new challenges that you're dealing with? Do you
Yeah.
want? I don't know if you want to get into that,
No,
but
no, that's
it's
fine. We can talk. No one's
yeah,
ever asked me before, so it's interesting. Honestly, sometimes we want to kill each other,
yeah,
and sometimes it's great. We have so much fun. I think it just depends what we've got going on, what we're trying to manage. He is great. He has experience of running his own business before, and has done for a long time. So it's great with the business side of things and helps me a lot, because some things just go straight over my head. I don't understand it. So I've kind of got him as like a calming, like, this is what it is, like talks me through. I panic. If I don't understand something straight away, I panic. I say, I can't do it. I get really like dramatic. And he's like, just stop, just calm down. Like he's kind of that. He's away.
yeah,
He just understands everything. I just don't basically. Um, but it has affected our lives, like in general. For example, I can't tell you the last time we went out with friends and did something. Like there are some friends I haven't seen properly for coming up a couple of years now.
wow,
Family we don't see and do as much with as often, and I think they struggle to understand it sometimes. They, number one, think that I think I was insane for leaving my job and doing all of this, and then he left his job,
yeah,
and then they're like, right, oh my god, what are they doing? I think they see that it's, it works and it's successful, but they also see that we work every given minute of the day and they think it's too much. But when you're growing a business, you have to put everything into it, or you have to put as much into it as you think is enough for it to be successful. The less you put in,
yeah,
obviously, the less you get out. And I think for them it's tough because they just see us working all the time and sometimes stressed a lot of the time. Like if they're going out and doing like a dinner, or like we've got friends that are like having a party or doing something, like there's so much we've missed, and I do feel bad a lot of the time, and I'm like, I need
yeah,
to weigh up what's important and what isn't. But at the end of the day, this is how I'm trying to like set my life up and my business and to be successful and have something to be proud of. So you kind of have to sacrifice somewhere, but it is tough to decide what to sacrifice and what not to sacrifice. So yeah, we definitely it's not easy.
it's
It's
really
not easy.
tough. Yeah, I mean, you had a child, but it's a business, so
Mm.
what's your
Literally,
friend?
yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the beautiful thing though is the real ones will always be around and still be there and check in and
Yeah.
be a part of your life. I've as much as I love relationships and building friendships and connections with people, and I mean I think that's a little bit what I'm known for in Pokemon. It's impossible to keep up with everybody, and
Yeah.
um, especially when you're doing this and this. I mean, it's the same in other businesses, but in this business, your weekends are shot with
Hmm.
events. Your weekends are shot with, I mean, for you have your streams too. There's auctions. There's all
Yeah.
these things that happen on weekends, and your friends are working during the week. So it's really tough to find time to get with each other. And
Yeah.
all my friends live in a different state, and they want to come visit and see the new place and hang out in Texas, but it's like I'm gone. My weekends are going to this show, going to that show.
Yeah.
I'm I have to edit, I have to record, I have to do all this because I'm working a 9 to 5 now again.
Yeah.
So it's like even more that I can't get away from, but it's tough. It sucks. Like I can't even. I miss out even on like like the like the group message. Like I can't
Yeah.
even. I'm so unfocused on that part of my life because everything's focused in building the brand, building the business. Because because it's a 24/7 thing. I mean,
It is.
you're in the UK. We talk at weird hours. I'll get
Yeah.
messages from people in Dubai, in Japan, and my attention span just at this point has been trained to kind of really care about Pokemon more than I should. So it's a
Hmm.
very delicate, difficult thing to manage when you start a business, when you decide to take Pokemon on as a
Yeah.
full-time job. It just,
Yeah.
it takes over your life, but it's also really special in the fact that, you know, they're able to connect with so many different people now. I mean,
Hmm.
being real friends with you and Harry and, Swolepoke. I went to his wedding. Like, I
Yeah.
found a real group of people that I can consider my friends and
Yeah.
actually share my life with outside of Pokemon. So
Yeah.
um, it is a great thing still. I think everybody goes through this in life. You have different things that happen. You have a kid, you start a family,
Yeah.
you have a new job, and it's just things shift. But the family, the friends, will always be around. So it's
Yeah.
that's good to have. Sorry, getting deep and emotional.
No, yeah. But we don't really talk about it like
Yeah,
outside of people always want to talk about the business side of things. So trying to explain like what life looks like while trying to do this is, I suppose, interesting for some people that it's not. I don't really have a life, don't really have a social life or anything like
mhm,
that. This is my life. And we've got, we're lucky. We've got supportive friends and family, but I think sometimes they struggle just to like understand it all. Basically they think it's too much, and we're lucky, I suppose. We don't have kids yet. We have our fur child Frank. He is just as important. So we don't have that responsibility as such, like, so we use all our time for the business. So yeah, maybe we're crazy, maybe we do too much, but
you
when
guys,
it's your own thing, it's like you want to pull your time into it. So
do you want to start a family? Are you getting ready? Is this too
I
personal
mean,
now?
no, at some point, yeah, but like
Yeah,
I always thought I'd be younger, but I'm
yeah,
nearly 30. I'm scared of being 30 as well. I don't want to be 30. So like, and again, life like happens like quicker than maybe you realize, and like
yeah,
having a timeline for things, it doesn't always work out. Like,
yeah,
like a lot of my friends have kids now, or they're
yeah,
married, or um and even if we weren't, or like I didn't have my business or whatever, like as you grow up you do grow apart. Like life happens, you get busy, you don't have as much time to do everything else. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what our timeline looks like now, because I haven't got a minute to brush my hair, let alone raise a child currently. I've got a dog and that keeps me busy enough. But yeah, it's one of those things. If you had asked me like 10 years ago, like, oh, when are you gonna like, have a family? Like, what's all of that gonna look like? I'll be like, yeah, in like 5 years' time. And like,
hmm
couldn't be further from
yeah,
where I am now. I'm sitting in a room surrounded by plushies and Pokemon cards. Like, let's be honest, like
yeah,
things have changed.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think, but it's like with the business stuff, people are like, oh, like, what is your plan in like 1 year, 5 year? Like, I don't really have a plan. There are things I want to work towards, but putting a timeline on things can be tough sometimes, because you never know what's going to happen, personal
Yeah.
wise or work wise.
Yeah, there's never a right time. You just always got to go for it. It's okay to plan.
Yeah.
I don't plan, but you should plan a little bit.
It's okay to plan as well.
It's
Yeah.
okay to plan.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
we just go with the flow and just see where it takes us, basically, and
yeah,
pray
that's
for the
awesome.
best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the conversations we had, I think it was in Dallas. There was some consideration, and I'm sure this isn't going to happen anymore, but there was some consideration of like, or interest at least, in living in the U.S. I mean, you're traveling here so much.
Yeah.
The UK Pokemon scene is much smaller than in the
Hmm.
US. What was the idea behind that? Did you want to? You have family out here as well,
Hmm.
or Harry does. Is that something that you would still consider in the future? I know there's other plans in place right now, but
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, prior to doing all this Pokemon stuff as my job, I always wanted to live in the US. I've always loved the US. And had I fallen into this the way I have, and then Harry joined me and we were doing this as work, or whether we had stuck with our old jobs, it's still something I would have wanted to pursue and do. Still want to do it. It's probably going to be pushed back a little bit now because of like other plans we have currently. But yeah, eventually we both want to make the move at some point. I get a lot of work opportunities in the US, especially with events and stuff and like with companies. And obviously it's a lot easier to work when you're on the sort of like same time zone, or if they want you going to like their offices or doing all that. So like, it's really hard. Obviously I have to fly and can't be doing that every week type thing. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for things like work stuff out there. I do have opportunities here as well. It works both ways, but it's something we both want to do. And I'm kind of lucky he wants to do it as well, because if it was just me, it would either be no, or he'd probably divorce me. So
no, he'd have to listen to you. You're always right.
So yeah, it's something we still both want to do. Again, when that's going to happen, I don't know, but that is like a personal goal, for example, that we'll hopefully work towards and get to at some point.
Where would you want to be? East Coast?
East Coast, yeah. Near where his family live, outside of Philadelphia. It's one of my favorite places. I also just personally prefer the East Coast as well. Love Florida and New York. And for us, it's a little bit easier to go to and from the UK to the East Coast. The West Coast is obviously a bit of a bigger journey. So we can get to New York in like 6.5, 7 hours, which for us isn't a massive flight. That's kind of like manageable.
Yeah, but then going to the West Coast another 5. So
yes, it's longer. Yeah,
those are crazy days. Yeah, I don't do well on flights after like 5 hours. I just start to like freak out.
It's a long time to be like cooped up. Yeah, no, it's not pleasant.
Yeah, I'm worried about the Japan flight. I'm gonna have to hide and make sure I do okay.
Damn, just shut your eyes.
Is that the next time we get to see each other? Is Japan?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. What did you just say? New York? When are we going to New York? That's in October. That's after Japan. Harry's on a different timescale to the rest of us. Okay. Yeah, we are going to be going to Japan in August for Worlds. We had hoped to go to the National beforehand, but we've got too much going on to be able to make another trip out of that or combine. We just can't afford to be away for that amount of time. So we're going to go to Japan, and then we're hoping to do New York Comic-Con in October, I think it is. So yeah, haven't done a Comic-Con in the US, done a lot of the collector cons, done Card Party, just done a lot of general traveling around and going to shops. Done MCM Comic-Con in the UK here a couple of times in London, but haven't done a Comic-Con in the States, and really want to do New York Comic-Con. So
I've never done a Comic-Con either. Tell Harry to get me a ticket so I can come come hang out.
I'm sure he can arrange that. So yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. What else is going on in the life of Chloe? I mean, what like crazy dreams or visions do you have for the business?
Would love to have a physical store one day. I always want a base here in the UK, whether we ended up staying here, forever, or we ended up moving away. I have a UK community here. I have a lot of friends here, and obviously my family and stuff are here. Can't forget about them. It's not always just about Pokemon. So I'd like to have, a TCG store that, is its own standalone functions in its own right. We're doing a lot of traveling at the moment, which makes things more stressful than they need to be, I think, sometimes. Being away, again, when it's only, 2-3 of us that work together and run different parts of the business, it's tough when we all go away and leave at the same time. So we are hoping to expand the team very soon as well, which should be exciting. So yeah, lots of traveling. We've done 2 collecticons this year. We've done Card Party. We've been on our honeymoon 2 years after we got married, so that was a good one. We finally squeezed that in. And that was like, we then went to a collecticon afterwards, which is when we saw you in Dallas. We are going to Japan for the Pokemon World Championships. We've never been to Japan before, so really excited about that. And then I know between like that New York Comic Con and then towards the end of the year that I'm sure there'll be some more trips. I love traveling. I love seeing new places, meeting new people, meeting friends, like having a lot of friends across the pond. Don't get to see them very often, so any opportunity that we can all get together is great. But obviously traveling a lot is then not always easy with the business side of things, so it's just trying to like need to spend the rest of the year trying to manage it properly, and also trying to do like some new content as well for my channel.
What's that looking like? Because you said one will be out by the time that that this is out. So what's the new strategy?
Kind of just switching it up. So instead of just sitting at my desk where you see me now opening up cards, which I love doing, sometimes I feel like it can be a bit like stale in a way. Like I feel like if there's nothing new out or there's nothing like really exciting that I want to open or showcase, it's tough to just sit there and, you know, open things that maybe you aren't as excited about, because I think it shows, especially when you're like filming content and you're not enjoying it. So I wanted to do some things that I've never really done before, and that means like not necessarily being here sitting at my desk. So one thing I will tell you that I am doing, and you're probably thinking, what the hell has it got to do with Pokemon? But I'm going to incorporate it. I'm actually going to do a skydive next month.
Yes.
And I'm a little bit scared. The more I actually, so I've booked it and I'm kind of ignoring like what it actually is. So the more I sit there and think about it, like, yeah, I'm jumping out of a plane. So I've wrote my brother into that one because Dean wouldn't do it with me. And I don't know why Harry won't do it. He still hasn't given me a clear explanation as to why he's not doing the skydive. He said I never invited him, but I did. So yeah, that's going to be like a Pokemon-ish based video, but also skydiving at the same time, which I thought could be fun for people to watch.
What do you open? You got to open Clash of the Blue Sky, which is Japanese Deoxys? Japanese, one of those sets. I don't know what set that is. You need to find, you got to find the right pack to open for that. I think Clash of Blue Sky might be the right one.
Yeah. So that'll be fun.
Wow.
So something a bit different. Just trying
to like pass out. I'd be in the middle of opening the pack and just
I'm afraid that I will pass out mid, because you see those videos of people where they just, that's it, they're gone. And I feel like I've never done anything like that before, and I'm going to film it. Might not be the best idea if it doesn't go very smoothly and I don't look, I sort of just lose consciousness, but we'll see. We'll see.
Either way, it'll do. Yeah.
So that's fun. Something a bit different. I just want to do different style type videos, like going out and about and, you know, doing things like that.
More vloggy.
People and more vlogging. Like my vlogging videos do well. So
yeah, that's something that I mean, obviously with Pat Flynn, Deep Pocket Monster, kind of that's where he was able to take off, was a more storytelling, higher quality video. But the vlog world is something that's still completely missing from Pokemon. Way back in the day, 10 years ago, there was a channel called Personal Pokédex. They still kind of do some things, but it was this one guy and his buddy, Alan Tort, and they vlogged their collection pickups. They vlogged all this type of stuff. He's infamous for, and I always bring it up when I talk to him, but he had a flood in his basement and it ruined, at the time, 20 grand worth of Pokemon stuff. Today, $500,000. It was Aquapolis, EX Deoxys. It was boxes, like crazy stuff. Even back then. But that's such a sad video. But they had like this 1-2 combo of vlogging, and it was, I mean, it was very like rudely done, but it was still entertaining. And that's something that's not really out there with Pokemon. We're seeing it more. People are going out and doing more vlog stuff, but it's still waiting for that personality to really take off with it. That's kind of what, before I started doing the podcast again, I did a couple videos of just like sitting in front of the camera and like talking. I kind of had this idea of doing Casey Neistat style vlogs and incorporating Pokemon,
Right.
which I think would do really, really well if you get the right person and the right editing. So I just fell back into the podcast because I love it so much. So maybe one day I'll find a videographer or editor to just do all that for me. But yeah, I think there's a huge opportunity for someone to do that. And because like you said, a lot of these Pokemon openings, and it's always been the way, it's to be successful on YouTube is just to sit there and open packs and react, and people love that, and I think they always will.
Yeah.
But it's getting saturated at this point with how many people are doing it, so it's very competitive, and in order to be a successful creator, you got to adapt and do different things, and I think that's the way to go. So wishing you the best in that. That's exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And then and you got Dean there too, so doing that together will be great. Having that person to bounce things off of is huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to I'll talk with Harry more, but we'll have to figure out Tokyo stuff or Japan stuff. I don't know if you've planned it already. I've already planned mine. But we'll have to get together and hang out because I'll be there for like 5 days, 6 days before the event.
Okay.
But
yeah, we haven't really. Again, I used to be a really organized person. That was literally what my old job was like being an assistant. So it had to be organized. I'm the most unorganized person now, especially when it comes to traveling. Everything is so last minute. Yeah, we haven't planned anything. So
okay, all right,
we're free.
Well, let me know. I'm excited. What about? I didn't even mention this, but what about the podcast? Like you used to do a podcast. We filmed a podcast at my old apartment in person.
We did. Yeah, it's something we still want to do. It has been a case of time and having somewhere to film it. We had to move it out of the place that we were filming it previously, and we just haven't been able to set it up anywhere. We've temporarily done a few like at my setup, but we kind of want it to have its own identity. So again, once we get a bit more organized, like over the next few months or so, it's something we definitely want to bring back and do, and have guest songs. It's another way to be able to talk to people and interact with people, and just put out some different style content. But yeah, that kind of just came to a halt temporarily, because time, space, all of that sort of stuff. And I think where I mentioned earlier, trying to do too much, like even like Dean, for example, he's really busy as well. And we just don't have the time with the amount we stream at the moment. And we want to make sure we stay on top of our own content, and the store has to run and function. We literally just don't have enough hours in the day, which I always, when people used to say that when I was younger, I was like, that's such a ridiculous thing to say. Like, there's loads of time, but there really isn't when you're busy.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I've done this so many times, going back and forth, making content, and I'm only going to do this until I can really get it to a place that I'm happy with it. Like I want to have a podcast studio. I want to have a place to bring people. I want this to be the thing that I do because I love it so much. So knocking this out, focusing only on this, making it the best it can be, and then expanding from there. That's good. Yeah, you got to be careful. There's a lot of shiny objects out there that will grab your attention. So yeah, stay focused and stay consistent, and you'll find even more success than you already have.
I hope so.
To wrap this up, do you have any goals for the end of the year? Any?
Yeah, I do. Get a physical store open here in the UK before the end of the year. I mean, we are already nearly in July, so time is literally running away. So we'll have to watch this space on that one. And again, not always easy until things get a bit more organized. Just have a bit more time to focus on like producing some of my content. Just having more time to plan it. Be a bit more creative with it, which I'm kind of trying to implement with these new style videos already, sort of making a start. But I feel like sometimes like I just don't really have a plan for anything half the time. It just happens, and I want to be a bit more structured and organized with it. So yeah, if we can grow the channel a bit more. I haven't got like a goal as like everyone always says, like, you know, when do you want to hit like a certain like milestone, like subscriber count? I don't really like 50K was a big deal for me. I never even thought I'd get 100 people watching the videos, let alone 50,000 people subscribe to the channel. So like I'm happy. Like the channel has gone. Obviously, I want to keep growing it and keep working on it, but like there's no goal as to when I want to hit like another. It will happen when it happens, if it ever does happen. You know, getting bigger and better. So, yeah, just sort of like focus on growing the business as much as I can, really. And try and have a little bit more personal time back. I don't know if that's really going to happen for like another couple of years, but yeah, that's the overall general aim.
Good. Yeah. Focus on making the best content you can make, being happy, enjoying it. You'll have to find some time though, because I want to come out to the UK and hang out with you guys.
Yes.
And do a little. I've never been, so
okay.
I'll have to. I want to plan that out, because there's a few places I need to go, like. and because I want to visit Fuji again. I want to go out to Germany, and then also go to Dubai. I got some things to take care of, so planning that all at the same time would be ideal.
Yeah,
it'd be a long trip. Might be like a month-long adventure.
It would, but no, it'd be good.
It'll be a lot of fun. So, well, Chloe, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
This was a pleasure.
Yeah,
I miss you guys. Come back. So, for those that don't follow Chloe, please hit that subscribe button at PokiChloe everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok especially, YouTube, and then check out her shop as well. And a lot of great things coming from you. It's fun. It's fun watching you. It's fun.
Thank you.
Getting to know you guys and watching you grow. So, best of luck, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much.